Baneling thing still is like, if you got a lot of Banelings, you got a lot of Banelings. It seems to be kind of the Baneling motto.
A lot of Banelings still equals a lot of Banelings post-patch. can confirm. And still, it still is a powerful thing, and it still is the the butter for your bread for Zerg. You just get them. You're very rarely going to see a game from a Zerg that doesn't involve a lot of Banelings.
Yeah. The shield battery overcharge too. Like, as much as it's affected TVP, sorry. It was always meant to never affect ZVP or TV. It was a PvP thing, which, I haven't seen too many people really try to use the shield overcharge to go for more natural expansions. I feel like it's been roughly the same. I feel like proxy robos were already on the way out, just as like there wasn't constantly happening. I mean, maybe it will affect it, but we'll see.
Yeah, going back to what I said earlier, give it a bit more time before we really know. But theoretically, I'm with you. It seemed less and less like the proxy robo was happening every single PvP series, just because especially the really good Protosses got very good about just going, okay, it's that time of the game where I'm going to have like 2 probes out on the map looking. Like that, they would actually just give up 2 probes worth of mining to just look for proxy robos, and everyone was getting very used to where the robo is going to be on certain maps as well. They're like, oh, okay, it's Nightshade. I know where the robo generally is going to be, or it's Eternal Empire. I know where that robo is going to be. So,
yeah, it'll already be figured out. But anyways, for the ZVP matchup, we are talking usually mostly about the Widowmine buff. Sorry, Widowmine buff, but. Even that, it seems like Zerg players, because Widowmines were already becoming funnily enough, Widowmines were already becoming more popular and better in ZVT without even the change happening. We just saw them, Tarians identify more and more, just like, if we make a bunch of them, they're really annoying. And Zergs are like, you're right, that is. And now they have the Burrow with Armory. It just, I don't know, the Zergs are already getting used to building Overseers, so haven't seen too much change here. We might see it with JonSnow. Because I guess the last ZVT I did cast was Morrow versus Dark, which no disrespect to these players.
Yeah, yes. Slight difference. Exactly. I jumped into Roddy's stream for a little bit, and he was sitting there with the realization, and he's like, I don't think I've been in a lobby on my channel with this much MR in it. It's like in 8 years of streaming, I don't think I've ever cast a series this high level on my channel, which seemed to be the case. Morrow and Dark are basically the contenders for the best at that particular race in the world. But these guys are pretty solid. Epic is 6'3", JonSnow 6'2", very closely matched in MMR, and also teammates. So I'm looking forward to the series.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good TvZ. In the bottom left of Everdream, we have our Terran player, Epic.
Oh, yes. Both these players have played in Challenger before. Neither of them have been able to get too far. But let's see how they do in this qualifier. In the top right, of course, the Zerg player JonSnow recently dispatching Epic 2-0 victory. Not Epic, the other guy, Raze.
Yes, Raze.
Still waking up. I just finished my cup of coffee. It's got to get into the bloodstream. That's my excuse.
Yeah, I count my calories. So I was like, I had a second cup of coffee, like, pre-planned. And I was like, I think I'm going to need it today. But you know what? I didn't actually. Instead, I just took another nap. So.
I do a bit of that as well. I've been a little bit lax on it since quarantine, to be honest, where I'm just like, I feel like garbage, so I just want to feel better. And a lot of the ways I do that, like most people, is through having a nice drink or a nice meal, which does help a lot. But you and I are different in the sense that I usually have my coffee black. I think you usually have yours with milk, right? So there's a fair bit more.
Very little nowadays.
Very little. Milk-wise, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I actually don't like too much creamer now. I realized that what I really liked was sugar. So.
Okay, yeah. I have a black, no sugar, no milk. So my black coffees, I can basically have as much as I want. It's very little calories. It's like less than 100 per cup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it still is for me, too. Fortunately. If I was drinking, like, lattes...
Oh, God, yeah. It's...
no, thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes when I have a bit of a funny relationship with my family where we kind of tease each other a lot. So I was, going out with my mum at one point for, when the quarantine was lifted a bit. My mum's in her 60s, so I try to be careful. Oh, drones! I didn't quite get the whole position on that extractor, so it saved itself. but I was going out for a coffee with her, and she's like got this skim milk latte or whatever like that, and it's just like there is no coffee in that. It is just milk. I'm like, Mom, why don't you just get a glass of milk? Stop pretending you're having a coffee and just say I want a glass of milk.
Yeah.
Wow, shut up! It is a coffee. It makes me feel makes me feel like I'm having a coffee. I'm like, yeah, but you know,
It's not. Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's usually a situation I'm not getting cold through, so I do like
Cold
that.
brew hit. That's strong.
Yeah. Well, this is a very cheesy little start here for JonSnow. He does have a Roach Warren with Epic did not get to scouts. Actually, his impression right now is that he delayed the third and has gotten away with the command center still finishing, even though he has to obviously pull the SCVs back. Like, this still seems like to Epic that he has dealt with this well. I would say most Terrans are well aware that this could be a follow-up. As to whether he thinks JonSnow is particularly, like, inclined to do it, that's a different question. But actually, JonSnow was fairly cheesy in the last qualifier, so...
Yeah.
Well, Epic needs to scout this.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, if you're still reactoring out Hellions, even with an armory on the way, the Roach attack can still kill you, and we're seeing them go through the middle of the map. I feel like if your Roaches are on the other side of the brush in the middle of the map here on Everdream and you still haven't scouted it as a Terran, you're in a lot of trouble. There are Widow Mines on the way, which are, there's something. They're better against Roaches than Hellions are, for sure. But after they blow their load, for the lack of a better term, they aren't super useful anymore.
Yeah. This is actually really unfortunate because Epic didn't even go through the middle of the map to scout them in the middle, and that's already, like, too late to have a good defense. But the good news is he does have Widow Mines, as you were saying, and that they are about to be cloaked after a shot. In fact, just right then and there. Coincidentally, but he's still got to move it. And he has an armory for Hellbats. So if he can get a couple together, there's no Lings following this up, maybe he can hold enough to play a macro game, but it's not going to be a great one.
No, he's losing a few SCVs here. The depots going down the front also really sucks because he's trying to produce units right now. Marauder on the way and the Liberator on the way. When they come out, that's going to be a little bit of something, but obviously he needs to pull SCVs intermittently here, so not only is he going to lose SCVs, it's denied biting time as well. He is doing an alright job at dodging the vials for the most part.
This is actually not too bad. I mean, because Lings don't follow this, it is actually fair to continue microing the SCVs away, right? Pulling them into the fight if there's anything supporting them is also not bad. And in this case, a medevac was actually kind of supporting them. Like, as far as the handle of this goes for such last-minute scouting, I give it like a B+. You know? The entire game, I give maybe like a C, because really, the Reaper coming back, not really accounting for the Roaches, the Hellions not going through the middle to, again, scout for this particular follow-up, that's just a mistake. You know, there's a reason you see those two Hellions move out quickly. It's usually because they want to get a scout and something like this, but the handling of it was certainly not bad, but it's not a third CC handle. Third CC only just started, and he can't really do his Hellbat attack anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing for Epic here is that he is technically alive, but only technically. It's not looking great for him at the moment. JonSnow has a very large lead. He's making nothing but drones at the moment, so I could imagine maybe a medevac with some units in it getting a handful of drones, but will it be enough to upset the 61 versus 34 worker difference? I don't think so.
Doesn't look so hot. Again, if the third CC was finished while all that happened, we're actually talking about like probably a fair enough game, but he's really got to do some damage. Starting things off, getting the Liberator injured is not great, but at least he was microing it, and I do really applaud the attempt with the medevacs and the two Marauders. I mean, that's pretty sick.
That's tenacity right there. That's the eye of the tiger. You know, if I was an American and I could vote for a president, it's someone that would play TvZ like this. You know, they've just they've taken a blow and they're like, whatever, man. I believe in the American dream, and I'm gonna make this happen here for NA.
Well, you know, JonSnow's also from America, so.
We're ignoring that for the purpose of my analogy.
All right, good stuff. Well, if Epic is now correctly evaluating the game, seeing that there's more Roaches being made, is not transferring over into Ling Baneling, he could just think, okay, all I gotta do is defend this 1-1 Roach push, because that's usually what it is when you see nothing but Roaches being made. And that is technically possible. I see an opportunity where maybe the tanks are really well positioned. He doesn't try dropping, and JonSnow is just like, okay, I can definitely win with this, but it's actually a little bit more questionable. If Epic doesn't realize this, tries to drop with 16 Marines, pushes his tanks forward to the front lines, like, he's absolutely dead. Turtle Epic, he's got a shot.
I think so. it's one of the most saddest ways to lose a TvZ and to watch a TvZ go down as well, is when a Terran loads up 2 medevacs worth of units just as the Zerg is attacking through the middle of the map with a bunch of Roach Ravager. Like, you know, because he just didn't have that map vision. You don't have the spotter units out there. And it is one of those, the composition of Epic is better than JonSnow's. You know, Bio Tank is better than Roach Ravager generally, punch for punch. But when you are 60 supply up in army and change, you just got too much, and JonSnow is about to hit that 1-1 timing.
And Epic's tanks are not well positioned for this. Like, I was talking like 1 up on the main, so you can retreat into it. 1 definitely more so in the back of the high ground platform. Like, being on the low ground with an easily concavable area, Epic is actually just going to die here.
Yeah.
Pretty sure about that.
Yeah. Don't want to be that guy, but you were just that girl, so I'm going to echo what you said. Yeah, Epic is in tons of trouble right now, and I don't see this going well for the Terran at all. Nothing but roaches coming out here from JonSnow, and I don't think he needs to worry about anything else. Oh, and a goop on the tank production, single factory tank production, no less. Womp womp.
Yeah, Epic definitely knows what's going on. You know, it's probably also a little bit of him just being like, well, I can't just turtle forever. I gotta take this chance, but this chance is probably not gonna work out. I do applaud the SimCity attempt. 1 tank on the high ground goes down, but 2 more still actually working. The lack of bio is eventually going to be a problem for the tanks. They're going to get concaved on, and that's going to be it.
Yep, game 1 in the books. JonSnow is going to start the series with an advantage. And with the way this tournament works, JonSnow is actually quite close to that next round already. Ooh, sorry, tank.
Yeah, didn't do too much there. Epic just took too much damage, going for an aggressive build that didn't even really help him defend. Really fell behind in the economy, and it's better for him to just wipe his hands clean of this game, I would say, and go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Still sticking around.
I'd still vote for him. Look at this fighting spirit. Rocky Balboa's got nothing on Epic. Look at that. Look at that guy. He's a believer. That's what I call those people when I play ladder, and I know I'm 80, 90, 100 supply up on an opponent, and they won't leave. I'm just like, oh, he's a believer. He hashtag believes. I respect him.
That he does. But it was all for naught. Still had to tap out, and still going to game 2. You're right, though. JonSnow is pretty close to already, like, advancing. Like, obviously being up 1-0 here isn't the end of the series, but looked very good there. And then he's facing the Vindictor or Disrespect. Both being Terran player, or maybe it's Terran and Zerg. I'm not 100% on that one, but anyways. And I give JonSnow very good odds against that. Yeah, I see the qualifier going well for whoever wins this, actually. If Epic won, I could actually give him the slot as well. Just so many slots to give.
So many slots.
Ayo.
All right. Pillars of Gold is the next map here, and this is... I feel like, you know, you were actually talking about it last night. Well, earlier in the day, I guess. Earlier this morning for you in the Dark Maru series. Whether or not this map is better for Terran or Zerg. And I think this is one of the better Terran maps in TvZ, if I had to have an opinion. The Ice and Chrome map seems very good for Zerg, as far as the new maps go. But this one is a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to rally. So let's see if Epic can use this map to his advantage. And he is up here in the top right, currently down the series.
In the bottom left, he is the Red Zerg JonSnow. Taking that last game with some roaches. Early game roaches, 1-1 roach push. Could do that exact same thing here as far as the 1-1 attack goes anyways. That's what Dark tried to do. Didn't really work out in that particular series, but I actually saw it being a good idea. And well, Maru's pretty good. But is Epic as good as Maru? Is JonSnow as good as Dark? Well, no.
Well, yeah. We're not even going to say, like, the jury's out. Like, no, I don't know, guys. No, that's absolutely... yeah, the reality is setting in. But these guys are extremely good still. Like, 6'2", 6'3" is extremely legit. It's a very good MMR. I would be so happy if I was 6K. Oh, my God. Like, just as a... I would play in tournaments all the time if I was 6K.
Okay, but the thing is, you know how it would be, right? You're 6K, but you're not 6.5K.
Ah, that is the human condition, isn't it? You know, you get that. You're like, if I had $10 million, I would just stop. No, you wouldn't, actually. That's the human condition. You'd maybe stop for a year, maybe 5 years, but eventually you'd be like, I want to do something. You'll still, you know, try and earn more. You'll still try and do something. Like, I know in my heart of hearts, I'm one of those people that's not okay with mediocrity, so I would try and Yeah, I'd be 6, and then I'd be complaining about not being 6'5". You're absolutely right.
Yep.
I'd be happy for maybe a month, and then I'd be like, all right,
Yeah.
what else is there?
That's what happens, man.
Yeah.
That's why I try to be happy, like, staying around Masters 2, even though I know I could be better.
Yeah, I mean, everyone could be better. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a grind. So anyways, to try and just reinforce my own, like, expectations of these maps, because, I mean, this isn't even, like, you commenting on it or being the actual determining factor of what it favors in this matchup, the rush distance. It more so started with that whole, 2-3 month period where map makers and, like, players basically hated each other. Like, there was some animosity for a while there. But anyways, like, as soon as the map makers were like, hey, these rush distances are actually quite similar, I was like, okay, fair. Like, I did not realize that. It feels like X map was bigger than Y map. And I still think that was true because, like, obviously we have to take into side-to-side considerations and how many bases a map has.
Not
to
just
really
the length, but the girth as well. Yeah, it's very important.
Exactly. And Pillars of Gold is actually the same rush distance as Eternal Empire.
Yep, that's pretty long.
But
I guess the plus side of this map is that it's like if you're battling on the darker areas, it's better for Terran. Like the higher ground sort of, if you look at the minimap, that's sort of the darker areas are a little bit better for Terran, but then you get out to the low ground sandy area, and that's where Zerg can start to get a little bit better of a fight, a lot more space to move, and with that creep spread, of course, that always makes things better for Zerg.
Mm-hmm. There's just some nice positions where the tanks could get sieged up, and then, the Marines rush forward, rush back to the tanks. We know that
Some
song
good
and
tank
dance.
spots. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's the thing about maps, though, is like initially the tanks seem kind of good. The pushes are really strong, even if they maybe take a little while. They're still strong enough to not matter. And then eventually Zerg players, specifically for this matchup, figure out what to prepare for, where to send their creep, where to position their units, when to do run-bys, that type of stuff. I mean, Nightshade's probably the best example for that. And though we don't have it in the map pool anymore, it was one of those maps where everyone was like, so Terran favored, impossible to hold. And we'd constantly see Zerg responses to it, push around that pillar. But anyways, Pillars of Gold doesn't actually have that many Pillars of Gold, it feels like.
Yeah. I think the Pillars of Gold are meant to be these giant pylons, like where that queen is, next to the Hellions on the third base. Like that's meant to be the Pillar of Gold.
I think so. I think you're
with
right.
The blue
but it
thing
just
on
doesn't
top.
really look like it.
Doesn't look very golden, does it? Needs to be shinier.
The desert tile set is the one that looks gold.
Yeah.
Pixel gold structures. Anyway.
I have to echo something that Pig says a lot. Why do map makers hate color?
Oh, because players hate color, actually. I mean,
right. Okay.
Probably the most famous map maker is still Avex, even though he hasn't really been doing too much lately. And he loved color. And every time he'd make something that was like shiny and chrome, players, including just like regular ladder players, not like necessarily professional players, would be like, no, my hybrid graphics don't work. Stop. And you're like, okay.
That is true, I suppose. But what I do appreciate as someone that does like color is how saturated everything looks on Submarine. Like everything is super bright, and I like that. It looks like Rainbow Vomit, and that's exactly what I want when I play Starcraft.
Yeah, there's that map, which is actually quite pretty. I do agree. And then there's that stupid 4v4 map that, like, it hurts your eyes.
Oh, that's just too far. Yeah, the old estate, that 4v4 map where your frame rate drops to a single digit and you have the brightest lights of all time. We have got a Ling Bane Muta game against straight up Marine tank, which I'm pleased to see. And we got the double Banshee coming on down here. Now, Epic is not innovation, but 2 Cloak Banshees can still get a lot of damage done if you're not ready for it. JonSnow's queens are spreading creep. He's only got the 1 down here, so there should be some dead drones.
Yep, very much so in the meta to just wait for both Banshees and get in here rather than send 1 Banshee. Hellions get your scouting done anyways, and sometimes if the Hellions don't got a Roach War and having 1 Banshee back at home can actually save your life if they're actually attacking into, which is very much so not this game, as you pointed out, Muta, Ling, Baneling, against what is a typical follow-up to the 1-1-1. We might get a tank push in exactly where Epic is trying to deny this creep spread, which, did we see any particular circumstances of the creep tag being different, causing lack of creep spread?
Not just yet. The Hellions have, gotten a little bit of creep damage. We've had 4 tumors go down. So some stuff's happened, but
Okay.
was it because of the armor tag? I don't know. I'll have to check the replays.
Yeah. Oh, what is this AI? Oh no, Epic's trying to push
God.
out, but like, what the hell?
All right,
Yeah,
I'm keeping that
gross.
in mind next time I play this map.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh boy, maybe shift flick that rally. But yeah, the Marines got separated from the tanks there, so old Terran players from home watch your rallies. He's also got some units on the far right here breaking off in the back. Looks like the Hellions are finding a different angle. The Mutas, though, they kind of catch each other there a little bit if they were paying attention. No turrets in the main. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he didn't automatically make turrets, kind of figuring this could be a thing. You don't see roaches. This is definitely the most popular build right now, so that's going to be unfortunate, but also unfortunate. JonSnow not canceling a 4th hatchery and going to a 3rd base where there wasn't many SCVs. They're pulled pretty quickly. Are there enough reinforcements? Maybe, well, maybe not, but he's not going to try and test that. Just runs away.
Not that many Marines left on the front line for the Terran. There were enough at home to shoo away the Mutas, only losing 4 SCVs, but yeah, killing that hatchery is a big deal. And bailing speed is only 2/3 of the way done. So there feels like there's a bit of a window here for Epic to consolidate his forces and maybe make something happen here. But at the same time, without enough Marines, I think it's not an incorrect call to pull back after getting the 4th.
I mean, like, both of them didn't... There was some opportunity for both players. This doesn't seem like it's going to really work out. Those Banelings are not going to connect with the Marines. The Mutas do, but that's not a good thing. 3 of them very weak. Are the only ones to survive that fight. And this actually might be a game-ending push. This looks damn good.
That was a game-ending mistake from JonSnow and a very game-winning rally there from Epic. You know, he went off creep with slow Banes and Mutas right into some 1-1 Marines, and that was not bueno for the Zerg. Bane speed is done, the fire pulls back, and I think that's going to be game for Epic. Yep, there it is.
GG. I was trying to point out that, like, there was some mistakes on both sides. There was combat shields a little bit later, and Stoic Hooks was, like, quite late, considering the very typical timing that was Epic's push. But it was just so much more important that Epic got the push without it seeming being noticed, which is a big problem. Biggest problem. And then JonSnow not actually finding all those SCBs that maybe he should have. They were pulled very quickly and just enough Marines to actually hold, and I guess after the 4th went down like it did, he just felt desperate to hold.
Well, I'm glad that we have ourselves a closer series here. Had a feeling it might be, but you know, like that kind of game 1, it's hard to know who's the better player with a game like game 1 as well, because it's kind of like a roach all in, and you know, I feel like someone 500, 600 MMR lower than a Terran can still beat them with something like that. The Terran's not paying attention or having a bad day. Game 2 was a bit more of an indicator. I feel like there was a bit more of a back and forth, but it did feel like, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, like, does this also say if you're the better player if the Zerg makes a massive mistake once with their army and the Terran capitalizes on it?
Yeah.
I don't know. So this is a very hard series to call. But Ice and Chrome, I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of Game 2 on on the Pillars of Gold. But this is, at least from what I've seen in EPT and that sort of thing, this is a pretty damn good map for Zerg.
Mm-hmm. We'll get into maybe Wise House in just a second after the intro is all tied up. Top right for Psystorm, he is Epic.
Certainly is, with an Epic Game 2. And also from Psystorm, the bottom left, this is JonSnow. Contrary to, you know, popular media, he actually does not know nothing. Apologies for the double negative.
I was confused for a second. He knows some things.
He knows things. He knows things. Yeah.
How does seeding work in this? It's actually based off of EBT points and participation in the Open Cups, and then a little bit of just admin determined weights. If they, you know, recognize that. I don't know. If JonSnow had no EBT points because he played in no cups, he doesn't get the last seed. Kind of, you know, admin discretion.
Thankfully, the you know, I'm not going to say all the admins, but most of the admins, you know, specifically Sinistro, does a pretty good job, and he has a pretty good idea of who is who and what is what. So yeah, if JonSnow just decided, oh, this is my first qualifier that I'm playing in for 2020, he's not going to go, oh, okay, JonSnow, you're the 100th seed. No, it's he's going to be in the top for sure. So.
So him being below Ryan, which is part of the question, actually, I think makes sense because Ryan plays in a lot of the Open Cups. But JonSnow doesn't necessarily. So
Ryan is Dr. Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Cool guy. He submits replays
he's
to
a nice
both of
guy.
us.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he subs to me, subs to you, sends in those replays, and he also so normally when people try to add me as a friend on Battle.net, I instantly decline it.
Yeah.
And he sent me a friend invite, and I'm like, all right, and then I accepted it, and he was like, this is the happiest day of my life. I'm like, aw.
Aw. I'm much like you. We've talked a lot about this, that we just like, no personal Discord friends as much as we think you're cool. We just don't want that. And Twitch friends, all that good stuff. But when it makes someone really happy, it feels nice.
Yeah, it feels nice. If people only knew me by how I behave in game, they'd probably think I'm a dick, because I don't ever chat. I block people all the time. Like if someone says more than a couple things to me, I may, like 50-50 of the time, may converse, but generally I'll block. And I don't ever accept friends. I don't accept customs, and I'm one of those people. But that's that. I'm not cussing people out. I'm not a bad-mannered guy. This is just like when I play ladder. It's just because I just want to play ladder. It's not anything against anyone out there. Just in case you think I'm a jerk. If you don't, yeah.
I'm with you. I've tried explaining this to chat. I haven't found quite the perfect words, but I think I'm generally like a good person. I'm not, I never intentionally am a dick unless you're a dick to me first, basically, is the rule.
Yeah, and, I'll fight fire with fire for sure. I'm not going to roll over and take it. I'm definitely one of those people as well. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but there's definitely people out there who are just very, very nice. They will just say, oh, don't be so mean, tee-hee, and let bygones be bygones, but nope, not me.
Okay, if someone says tee-hee to me, that's an instant block. Or gives me a winky face or a side tongue emoji in game. Like, all right, well, we're done talking forever. Reaper is dancing around these lanes here, trying to just basically make him pay the Reaper tax. Nothing really convincing, just some Ling kills, but sees the third base, sees that JonSnow's opening is quote-unquote regular for the most part.
Why is he... I'm actually surprised he builds 4 more Lings right now.
Yeah, he doesn't need them, but maybe just feeling like, well, that next round, the 2 Hellions are about to pop up and join with that Reaper, and he's bled off a few Lings, so maybe there's a certain Ling count that he wants.
Yeah, some Hellion players, some Terran players can then leave their Hellions in with the first 2, the first 4, so I can see that being kind of scary. Hey, let's talk about the map for a second as we see Hellion Banshee versus just a macro build for now. So the map has, like, it's not as wide open as some of our other maps that we've had in the map pool. It is a bit windy. It's got some of these, like, nice hallways. They're not really chokes, though, right? Like, it's something to set up in, but definitely surroundable. It's like the pathways available for Zerg. You can kind of not just have to deal with one of these chokes, which again is even that small of a choke. You can also get surrounds up to here and through over here. And the size of the map's also always that concern. Taking a third base has multiple avenues in. You can't quite push and defend like some other maps for the Terran's perspective. So yeah, I've always felt the Terrans being uncomfortable on this map.
Yeah, at least so far. There are some lovely positions for tanks, but like CG mentioned, they're like surroundable like 3 different angles. We've got the Hellions just doing a little bit of damage, nearly getting a queen there, but pulling back. Lair on the way here for JonSnow with a Baneling Nest as well, so it looks like maybe a Ling Bane Muta game again, which I think is good, decent map for it. The Overlord is going to see the Tech Lab researching and also on the barracks and the Starport, so he knows there's going to be Cloak Banshee, just the same as game 2. Double Cloak Banshee and Bio Tank.
I unfortunately didn't really get to pay like 100% attention to JonSnow's build to see why Centrifugal Hooks was later. Sometimes it's intentional, and other times it does. Sometimes like they have a Baneling Nest down and they just don't immediately start Centrifugal Hooks, which is just always suggested. You don't have a lot of like direct firepower when you do this build, so having at least speed on creep makes you a scary Zerg. Even if your mutas are doing something else, even if your Ling count doesn't look that great, that type of stuff. So it's usually one of the more important things to get with this build alongside the mutas, but with no even fast Spire, it really is just the Ling Baneling. And I'm actually a little surprised by that. I absolutely would have expected a Spire, especially because his double upgrades aren't that fast. It's kind of like those being one of the main 2 options we see, either really fast double upgrades or the fast Spire.
Well, I actually still really like this style from JonSnow. I mean, you're absolutely right, but I think that the Massling Bane style is still so incredibly powerful, because if the Terran does not get that second factory and Widowmine production and Drilling Claws, you can actually just win. You just have so much Ling Bane, and and if you just buy a tank, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen a high-level Terran against a high-level Zerg actually win against a guy that has mass Ling Bane.
Can be certainly scary. I mean, it's a lot of ground army. That's for sure. Epic kind of messed up his second armory upgrade, so there's not as much of an upgrade difference. But it definitely is the case that if JonSnow had gone for a Spire of these upgrades, obviously the upgrades are a lot later. So he might actually be able to combat Epic's push eventually with his own 1-1. It's just, yeah, like I said, it's not as fast as I would have liked. The push is actually already here.
Yeah.
A bit faster than usual. Isn't waiting for combat shields 1-1 or a second tank, and this is just a surprise, I think, to JonSnow.
Yeah, he's not looking very prepared at the moment. That's much later Spire, the lack of units in general for the Zerg. So he's setting up the units to the north side, trying to go for some round. He had a little bit of a counterattack there that got cleaned up by the rallies of Epic as well. He's sending more Marines through the middle of the map. JonSnow is just waiting for that next round of 20 Lings before he tries to surround this. Will he lose the hatchery in that time? I mean, the tanks are in range. There we go. He comes to surround JonSnow. Is it enough firepower? The Baneling's getting closer. Hellbats are engaged. Looks like JonSnow. I mean, the next round of Lings should be enough. Yeah, there we go.
It was just a bit of an awkward timing. I mean, JonSnow probably sized that up as like, okay. Well, for one, he was maybe missing +1 armor, but combat shields, especially not being done or even finishing as the push comes across the map, is always a bit, that's what's also concerning a lot of the time.
What are these? What are you doing there, you guys?
Not sure
hey, little
about
guys. That. What are you up to, guys?
Anyways, it's always that question, like, is the speed of the pressure worth not having those important upgrades that we usually talk about? And in that case, I'm not sure that it was, even though it looked like an even trade, which can sometimes lead to a Terran's rally push being really good. I mean, there wasn't really a rally push, not that strong anyways. We're still waiting on a second factory to really bump up the Widowmine production. And JonSnow is now, I think, going to take momentum, especially since his mutas are finally out.
Just paying attention to those Marines against those creep shimmers, I think there is a difference there. I feel like the creep shimmers died a little bit faster.
Noted.
Noted, yeah. I think there's maybe one less Marine volley.
Okay. I didn't realize Marines cared. Well, no, they would care, yeah. Because it used to be armored straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think it is more just for the Hellion pressure in the early game, but...
I think that's the intention.
Noted.
Speaking of intentions...
Not quite done once again, but this time there's no push that's winning the game for Epic.
Yeah, I mean, everything that he has is at home, bar a small cluster of units, which JonSnow has enough to overwhelm. Is Epic looking? He's actually got an army at the 4th base as well here. The 5th hatchery, rather. So he's got a couple clusters of units.
Not a whole lot. He's actually not even going to be able to snipe that 5th base, as the creep spread is certainly decent. It is connecting all the bases, and Baneling is rather fast. Upgrades have even maybe just a little bit more. I just don't see Epic actually being able to do a 2-2 push with the amount of splash he currently has. He's got a couple tanks that are going to be very helpful defensively against some of the bigger Ling on base. Ooh, what happened here? Oh, no.
I think JonSnow's mutas might have zigged when they should have zagged there. He just lost a whole bunch of them. 10 mutas have died for JonSnow in this game.
Yeah, he just wasn't paying attention, floated over them for even 2 seconds, and yeah, that's instant death for those mutas. That does suck. I mean, if you want to get up to like 15, I would say with that +1, and then if we're talking like even further, maybe +2. Epic experiencing some lag. It's definitely not the observers.
Oh, this might be the BM pause where JonSnow loses the mutas, and he's like, "Was that lag? Did you lag, mate? What happened there?" Maybe Caster. It's not me. I'm just checking I have my ping up. It's on Central, which sucks, but yeah.
The thing is that, like, as I understand the paranoia from the players, you want to get rid of any and all obstacles that could possibly affect you, right? Yeah. Before you start, before you just say, I need to tap out, of course. Yeah.
And this isn't a $50 show match or something. This bracket matters a lot, so.
Yeah. But even when a observer is stuttering a little bit, they've actually upgraded StarCraft 2's, like, I don't know what it would be, network code. I don't know enough information about it. But basically, it used to directly affect the game. Anytime you'd see a stutter, the players would do it too. It was actually pretty bad. And they've actually upgraded it like 4 years ago, to actually be a lot better. But anyways, totally not important. Just hope that Epic doesn't experience lag anymore.
The drilling pause is not quite done yet, but the Widow Mines still will be close on their burrowed. Oh, the Baneling's getting in close to them though. They get rid of 2 of the 3 Widow Mines there. And a counterattack from JonSnow as well, keeping those Banelings handy for when the Lings bust through those depots. Kind of like a reverse roll there. Now the Banelings are coming in for those SCVs. Epic pulls from just in time. Meanwhile, he is pushing onto that 3rd base here for JonSnow and dropping the 4th at the same time. Banelings getting close. The Widow Mines have shot their shot, but the Mutas are still engaging 2-2 Marines.
That's not so good, especially because their numbers were culled so much. If that's 15 mutas, I think they actually would have cleaned that up somewhat easily. Widowmine's also getting second shots is never ideal, and the run by is well, actually doing more damage than I thought. 10 SCVs actually have gone down, but more importantly, no SCVs are mining anymore. A lot of attention from Epic diverted on his side of the map, but he is still ready to take on the Swift base. He's cleared up the creep. That's really scary for JonSnow.
Yeah, losing 10 SCVs sucks, but, you know, it's still 60-plus SCVs, which is more than enough for the Terran machine to keep on churning. And he has a much bigger army than JonSnow. Keep in mind that JonSnow's army is tier 2, and 3-3 is more than halfway done here for the Terran. The fire on that front line, and those Marauders tanking those Banelings like a boss. This looks amazing for Epic. He might just win the game right here with this rally. Yeah,
I think he will. If the mutas had never died, and there's still 15 of them, there's a lot of cases where medevacs have died, Marauders have been cleaned up, Widowmines didn't get a second shot, all that good stuff, and just simply more gas gets put into Banelings. But this is absolutely the snowball effect. He just didn't have enough for the first time, couldn't entirely clean up and send it packing back home, and couldn't clean up the second, third, or fourth time. Epic, despite losing the first game, seems like he will be taking the series and knocking JonSnow out of this second qualifier. 2 out of 3 qualifiers. It's getting a little bit scary for JonSnow.
Yeah, certainly. He's got one more shot, and then after that, we'll just have to watch his teammates from the sidelines. Epic gets the victory and moves on to the bracket.
Well played. Good macro games there against Mutaling Baneling.
For sure. That's one of the few occasions where I've actually seen Terran do quite well against the Zerg in that map. There were, you know, there was a little bit of lag in that game, apparently. Wasn't me, and ZombieGrub says wasn't her, so I believe her. I don't know who was lagging in that one, but I'm sure it didn't have a ton to do in that game. The game was pretty long. It's like a, 12, 13-minute game. So hopefully nothing happened there.
With going up to the next series, I think we'll just follow Epic to Vindicta.
Sure. No, I'm super cool with it. TvT, nice. Hell yeah.
Exactly. So they'll have to do the vetoes. I would.